Okay guys, here we go. I'm going to start a new project today. It's where I record all of my standard chess games on a free internet chess server. I'm going to play 15 minutes pretty much every game. If I do something different, then it'll be part of a different series. But I want to analyze every game as I play on video. I'm going to track ratings and all those kinds of things. So the way I'm going to do it then is I'm going to just enter a default seek 15-minute game, and then somebody within 400, I think, I don't remember, let's see, 500 rating points of myself, either up or down, doesn't matter who, and just play whoever I get, and do the best I can. So it's going to be a 15-minute game. It'll be a little bit longer than usual, but I will try to do my best to keep it interesting and talk about it as much as I can. I'll also be going over the game afterwards, maybe not on video, but definitely in my database. And those of you that follow some of the things I write about my chess, you probably will be able to see a place where you can read the annotations, and I'll probably link to it on YouTube, those kinds of things. So I'm going to go ahead and put out my Seek, which will be a 15-minute game. And I'm going to answer TJ here, who's asking me something about chess.com while I'm waiting. But sometimes it'll take a little while to get a game anyway. 15 minutes isn't as common a time control, but okay, here we go. We're playing an 1102 rated player. I want to go ahead and move before he panics and aborts. I play everybody, doesn't matter if it's 2000 rated player or a 500 rated player, as long as they're within my seek range, which 500 rated player would not be. So 1,000 to 2,000 is a pretty wide range, I guess. So he's within that. He's provisional though, so it could be way different than that rating. All right. So what I've been playing here is a Scotch opening, and if I remember, C3 is a gambit. I don't remember the name. Maybe a Scotch gambit. I'm not sure. Ooh, okay. So I'm going to take a second here and figure out what to do on this move. It's something I haven't really seen. If I take on D5, I don't want to take on D5. So what if I play Knight C3 to reinforce my E4 pawn, which he's now attacking? So Knight C3, and then he takes on D4. I take on D. Yeah, see, that seems okay. So I play Knight C3. Knight C3, he takes here, I take here. He takes here, I take here. Now, if he mirrors and plays Knight F6, okay. So the E5 pawn's attacked twice, defended twice, but I think I would like to remove his pawn from the center initially. What happens if he's blocked his defense of D5 now, so if I play E takes, there's no forking tricks or anything like that there in the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and take E takes D5. I probably can't hold on to that pawn, may not even try, but I am going to go ahead and take it. This is a weird kind of counter gambit that I've not seen before, so I'm going to take my time a little bit, but I don't want to get into time trouble in the later stages of the game. So here I'm up a pawn. The D5 pawn kind of stinks way up there by itself. Alright, so Bishop C4 is ruled out by that move. Bishop F4 would just be undefended. I'm just thinking a normal developing move since he's not attacking the D5 pawn yet. I'm sure that's coming, but it's also defended once, so that's okay. It just seems like I'm going to have to defend that pawn somehow, probably with C2. I'm sorry, C4. So can I take the time right now to play Knight E2, blocking in my light squared bishop, but maybe fianchettoing it afterwards? So my initial plan is Knight C, E2, C4. This is going to slow down development some. G3 and bishop G2. That will give me a pretty strong center. But I think I'm going to play the G3 part for... No, yeah, I can do that. Let's see. So let's analyze G3, bishop G4, and then... Yeah, I don't like that very much. So I need to prevent bishop G4 first, and that's going to weaken this even further when I G3. So I may have to discard that plan. I'm not going to take any more than another minute or so to decide before I need to do it. So that may be my default plan for now. What about just a simple development move like bishop E3? Or what about getting the bishop out to F2 first, or E2 first? That would prevent bishop G4. I like that better. Doesn't really give me much way to defend D5, but I can worry about that. So I may just have to give it up. So let's go with bishop E2 for right now. Now, if queen G5... Well, no, he can't queen G5, can he? Alright, so now he is attacking. I'm going to go ahead and... Yeah, see, I'm just going to give it up. But right now, it's safe. I am going to go ahead and castle. Looking at developing the bishop next. I have to be careful of all these things going on in the center. I am just a little uncomfortable with this opening. Being up a pawn isn't necessarily worth a lot of hassle, but the development is equal here, in my opinion. And I do have a central pawn, which he doesn't have. It's just not easy to defend. So far, it's not. I need to maybe be a little more insistent on getting that knight out of the way so that I can play C4. Okay, my initial thought here is just play F3. He does have this bishop here which can pin on this diagonal, so that may be too weakening. He would be getting rid of not only a defender of that pawn, but also an attacker of that pawn, so this isn't necessarily a bad trade. It would be my bad bishop, and he doesn't really have a bad bishop, since he doesn't have any center pawns. Okay, so right away, I'm going to discard F3 because I don't like that diagonal. Although, is there really anything wrong with F3, bishop C5, king H1? There probably isn't anything really wrong with that. Obviously, he would have to move his bishop anyway. So I'm blocking in my own bishop. And there's no really good squares other than this diagonal. Even that diagonal, these knights cover everywhere my bishop can go. So let's just... What about bishop takes, probably this knight takes, then F3. Then where does the knight go? He's going to have to go back here. Then I play king H1 and it's his move again. So I'm going to go ahead and do that just to get rid of that bishop, which seems to be a liability for me anyway. Or at least something with not a lot of activity. Seems like my dark square bishop will be a little bit better. His light square bishop, you know, like I said, he doesn't have any center pawns, so his bishops are going to be mobile anyway. And now at this point, I don't need to play F3, I can play H3. Because there's no attack on this diagonal. So why not just play H3 and send the knight back where he belongs? Back to where he can attack my d5 pawn, right? Right. Okay. So once again, this queen suffers from the same problem as my light square bishop, which is that there aren't a lot of squares that it can move to on this diagonal. What in the world is that? Okay, take your time here. The simple solution would be just to take the knight, but with the queen or the... I've completely lost at what he's doing, but I'm just going to take the knight. Okay, so this is forced. I mean, again, his knight is just going to become trapped here, I think. Or I can just take it. Ugh. This is what happens when you're baffled by your opponent's move. You become so off balance you can't look at things objectively. I need to kind of shake my head here and just look at things. Take the knight. Well, there's no queen jumping in, nothing like that. Could also check, but I don't see what that would do. Alright, so let's just take the free piece. Stop thinking. So, bishop takes, for whatever reason, king takes, and then the queen can come here, and that doesn't affect much. So, let's just take the material that he's throwing at me for no reason, and I'm guessing that he's seen a combination like that work in the past, and he just miscalculated what he had there. And, I mean, he's probably a beginner. That's okay. He's probably going to learn from this game, and that's fine. So, as my friend TJ told me the other day, when you have a one game, you don't stop concentrating, you don't stop playing hard. Just like the bad guys in the movies will put the hero into a trap he can't possibly escape and then leave, and then 5 minutes later the bad guy's dead. So we're going to just develop here, make sure all our pieces are coordinated, get our pieces active, and win the game. Here we go. I have a little over 7 minutes left on the clock, so fine on that front. Though I may want to pick up speed just a little bit to make sure I don't get into any silly time trouble that's completely avoidable. So the rest of this game might be boring. I think maybe something already instructive has happened in that I could see that I went a little bit blind whenever this stuff went on over here, and that's something that I need to just relax and just take stock of rather than panicking and thinking, okay, he has something. I didn't panic, but I didn't react as calmly as I would like to. So how do I go ahead and win material here or force an issue? I should have plenty of opportunity to make some things happen with my extra material, but I'm just going to make sure that I make nice solid not developing moves, but solidifying moves over the next few. Don't leave anything out unprotected. Make sure that I'm increasing the things that are working for me and minimizing the things that are working against me. For instance, right now I moved my knight out of the way, which was something I've been trying to do for a long time in order to solidify my center pawn. What I would very much like to do now, that doesn't do anything, I'm just going to immediately move. What I'd very much like to do now is to create a big long pawn chain here in the center, or from the wing to the center, to make sure all these pawns are strong, with only being attacked at the base as a potential weak point, rather than just having a pawn sitting out there by itself. So I'm just solidifying my pawns right now. I want to develop my pieces to active squares, so I'm probably going to put my bishop on this d4 square.
Check.
I am most likely going to put my knight maybe on g3, where it can come into f5 or h5 easily. There's not going to be a lot of ways he can stop these two plans, I think. I'm going to want to get my rook over to e1, obviously. This doesn't do anything either. I'm going to want to get my rook over to e1, where it takes an active role on this file. And then I'll probably just start an attack. But we'll see. I have all the time I need to develop my pieces. Let's put this over here first. Even though my bishop was protected by the queen, I just want to avoid any hanky-panky. I have 6.5 minutes left. He's down to 10. He's moving a little quick, probably for what I'm guessing is a beginner. As I said, I don't know anything about this player. Alright, nothing is under attack. This does attack his queen, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. I say nothing's under attack that's undefended, so this is fine. Right. Why not just this? Forcing a dark square weakness, probably. I don't see any reason why this is bad, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. By forcing that dark square weakness means that these squares that my knight could come to f5 and h5 are taken away, actually. Now I could still do it because the pawn's pinned. In fact, would that be something I want to do? What good would it do if I went... I'm going to take just another 30 seconds or so. Knight f5, whatever move, knight h6 would be nearly checkmate. Would that be better than just coming over here to h4 and sliding up to h6? So let's take a minute here. Is there a way he can stop the plan here to here? h5 just loses to knight take. Well, no, it doesn't, because the pawn wouldn't be pinned anymore. So how about knight f5, whatever move, knight h6, king f8, and what do I do? What does that do for me? This king just comes out here to the middle, and then what? I don't see how to proceed. Maybe attacking the f8 pawn. Let's just do it. I mean, what the heck? I'm down to 5 minutes. So this looks pretty simple. It would be really nice if the bishop and knight worked together a little better. If maybe the rook was on f8, this would be checkmate on h6. I'm not sure what his best move would be here. There's no pinning going on here on this diagonal, which is why I decided that was one of the reasons I decided this move was okay. He can't come down to e2 with his rook and make some counterplay, because the queen, well, it would lose the knight, but that's an exchange up for me, so it's okay. Just going to put the knight on h6. Oh, I guess he could come to g7 there, couldn't he? No, he can't. Diagonal. Okay, so knight h6, king f8, and I'll just have to see what to do next, so I don't see an immediate continuation. I'm a little bit wary of moving, so he got out of the way quickly there. What about... Okay, 4.5 minutes now. I'm going to have to start moving quickly soon. Bishop g7, king g8. Knight a6 would lose the bishop. This doesn't do much. Just go ahead and keep him out of that safe haven, and we're going to start shifting the focus of our attack in just a second. For instance, I'm going to attack the g5 square, or g5, I don't know where g5 came from, f7 square. So, his best move here is probably rook e7, right? I guess that works too. But I can slip inside the pawn, or yeah, let's slip inside the pawn chain. I don't want to spend a lot of time calculating useless things here. This is, you know, a textbook win by now. I just want to make sure I don't, you know, okay, well that stops any idea I had of,
check.
That stopped any idea I had of maybe losing my queen to some weird, accidentally moving onto the diagonal that was defended by the queen. So, yes, that's checkmate. my rating increased from 1536 to 1540 on this game. It wasn't a terribly difficult game. He did some weird things in the middle game. Let's go back and look real quick at some of the things. I mean, I could try to guess why this whole sequence came about, but, you know, it's not sound, so there's no real reason to try to figure it out. He probably just guessed that there was some discovery attack on H2. You know, Knight F3 is forcing, so can I? No, I can't. Let me examine the game. And I didn't see how far ahead that was. Let's just go forward. Hey, I got it.
Check.
So, let's see. What happens if I forget, if I'm black and I missed that the deep warp knight can recapture there? If I do this, does this do anything? Of course it doesn't. Maybe he thought it was mate. I just don't see anything that he could have thought there. So anyway, it's no big deal. I just wanted to take a look at it real quick and see if there was anything. But of course, his miscalculation there ultimately lost the game. But I did have some things that I wanted to pay attention to in that game, such as the way that I sort of missed that I could just immediately take the knight back there, wherever it was. I want to make sure that I'm calmly improving the pieces after I win. That's a big, big sticking point for me that I want to make sure I keep improving on. I've lost some games after getting an advantage like I had right there. I've lost some games after doing that, and I want to prevent that from happening again as thoroughly as I can. So I'm a little concerned with how much time I used in that game. It was a pretty simple win, and I still used 11 out of 15 minutes on my clock. Some of that was just talking. So I may have to cut down on that some in the future, but maybe not. You know, I did like my thought process in that game, and I do like that I've already learned some things even from an easy game. Okay, any comments, please post them, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.